Let's now take it across to my colleague Amita Balachandra, who has been tracking the space very closely ever since SEBI notified REITs in the first place. Amita, tell us, with these norms, who are the names who are set to hit REITs market first up?
Well, Krishna, the big question, of course, is who's going to launch that first REIT. I have the same names that were there before these norms are in fact announced. Like Kavita mentioned, this will only, make it more attractive for, of course, investors, PEs, and developers to sort of launch the first REIT. But I'll give you a couple of names there. We know that a couple of companies are betting big on REITs, and that's Embassy along with Blackstone Group. You have RMZ Group along with Blackstone. Then you have DLF, you have Panchsheel, you have K. Raheja Corp, Hiranandani Group. Just to give you an idea of what kind of assets they are holding at this point in time, you have Embassy Office Parks with the maximum commercial real estate assets as of now, and perhaps the most REIT ready. They have about 30 million square feet as of now. K. Raheja Corp, of course, has 20 million square feet. RMZ again has 13 million square feet there. And Cushman and Wakefield research, of course, also tells us that 315 million square feet of office inventory is eligible for REIT. But what we're picking up from sources, of course, is that all of these companies are gearing up for REITs, as in they're sort of getting REIT ready, in a sense that they're building their assets to form an SPV, and that will happen only in 2017. Like Kavita also mentioned, perhaps March 2017 is what we know. But a lot of sources have also told us that perhaps the first REIT will be from Embassy and Blackstone, along with Blackstone, simply because they're the most REIT ready at this point in time. What we also are picking up, another key trend, of course, is that now what's happening is that a lot of developers are divesting, like there's DLF, there's Hiranandani Corp, which recently did with Brookfield. But the important thing to note here is that they're forming strategic partnerships with these PE funds, and that's something that sources tell us that will also happen towards the end of this year. So to answer your question there, perhaps in March 2017, and sources are betting big, of course, on Embassy Blackstone to go ahead first.
All right, so it's Embassy Blackstone, and it could be March 2017 by the time the first REIT hits the market, is the word coming in from Amita. Amita, thank you so much. And Kavita, thank you so much for putting that big development into perspective for us. So in fact, we also got in touch with some industry biggies. Let's listen to what they had to say about this major announcement.
I'm sure it's going to help a lot in terms of clearing the air to make sure that we can hasten the process of getting a REIT brought in earlier, as most developers who are in that game will want to do. It's just a matter of time that the fine print gets sorted out. See, it's like this. For the bigger players who are the relevant REITs currently, it's always going to help, because then your pipeline of development assets can quickly be infused into the REIT, and they can be a part of the REIT straight away instead of having to wait for different periods of time for completion. So it's certainly going to help in terms of increasing the size, giving a growth multiple to investors in the long term. I don't know if that was what the intent is. It probably might give more flexibility in terms of multiple SPVs that develop projects, where REITs can have interest in multiple SPVs. It helps. So currently all it's doing is really bringing it at par with listed equity. So that's what SEBI is trying to do. And the norms will probably align themselves to how you would have otherwise invested in listed equities. So I think it's only going to be good for the investors in the long term.
I certainly think that these were amendments which were required. These were amendments which many of the players who were planning to do the REIT had voiced it out to SEBI to make the REIT more attractive. Certainly with this and the earlier clarification that the government came in on the double taxation is going to make REIT a lot more lucrative, attractive. And I do hope that in the next 12 months, we would have the first REIT getting listed in India. Things is that it has been a while since SEBI had come out with the REIT regulation, or the Finance Ministry had announced the REIT It was way back in their first budget in 2014. But there were serious anomalies at that time. And, those got addressed subsequently. The last one was on the double taxation, which got addressed in February of this year. So really, seriously, if you were to look at it, that is the time when everybody said is that REIT will now become a reality. But it takes 12 to 14 months for any company to be REIT ready. And it's not only in India, even internationally, from the day you decide that you want to do a REIT, it will take 12 to 14 months because you have to get the structures in order. You have to ensure that the demerger, merger, SPVs, holding companies are put in line to ensure that the REIT regulations are met.
There are 6 changes which SEBI has proposed. Out of the 6, I think 5 are more positive. The 6th one, which is increase in the limit for under construction, is something which really dilutes the REIT position. But apart from that, all the other 5 are a positive one, and people looking at REIT will certainly now be looking at it more closely. Because globally, REIT as a product, as an asset, as an investment vehicle is supposed to look at stabilized assets. And the more under construction assets you add to this, the more risk you're creating for the investors. They'll end up asking for a higher premium. Automatically, the yield expectations will go up. So it kind of makes life slightly difficult for the players who want to look at this as a very serious, stabilized asset play.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.